What's up, my friends? Jenn Ho Goh, Realtor, Realty ONE Group Impact. We have a great professional local business expert as well in Grimes here joining us as an interviewee, sharing tips on camera phones for us to capture moments, capture memories right now. Everyone is at home. I think a great way to capture good memories. Everyone has an access to a camera phone. So why don't we introduce our great local expert, our TikTok fame superstar from Grimes, Mr. Nate from the Vine Productions.
Wow, your description of me was like made me nervous.
Oh, you are getting to that superstar level. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Say what you do, what your business is, and kind of let everyone know our little superstar from Grimes.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on who you talk to, especially my daughter. She doesn't call me a superstar. She says, "Dad, you're not TikTok famous. You're like Facebook famous or something like that." So, I don't even know what that means, to be honest with you. But yeah, I guess if you want to call me a superstar, that's fine. But I'm Nathian Steir. I'm the owner of the Vine Productions. I've had my business for over 6 years now. Prior to that, I started off as prior to that, I was an IT network administrator for a pediatrics company. So I worked in IT for quite some time. But video production's always kind of been a hobby. I grew up in Los Angeles. I grew up around people and friends and family members who were in that industry. And I just had an interest in it, but I never really pursued it growing up as a kid. To me, it was just more of a hobby, more for fun. When I was a little skater kid, I used to grab my dad's or my parents' video camera and record me and my friends skateboarding, and we'd make these for fun. We'd make these kung fu movies. Do you remember the kung fu movies back in the days where the lips were moving really fast but the voice, the words were moving really slow. So we would do that on purpose. And back then we didn't have any technology like we have today. So special effects was, all handmade. If we wanted to throw like a can at a soda can at somebody, we would throw it, and then we would cut the camera, and then we'd find some way to make it just flip like that and hit the camera. It was all creativity in the head. We didn't have this software and whatnot to create that. And I'll be honest with you, till this day, it's still fun to do that.
Correct.
But yeah, I'm digressing. You wanted me to talk a little bit about my business. Well, that's where I came from. That's where I started. So then it just kind of evolved into when I got older, I started bringing my camera to my church events, and I was recording things at church, and I was that kid at church that was underneath the tables, and I was recording cool different angles of the church service. And my pastor would look over during service, and he'd have this funny look on his face, like, what the heck is he doing? and then I'd send him like an edited video from way back. This was way back in the days. It was like Windows Movie Maker or something. And I'd send him an edited video I made of the church service, and he actually liked it. And so it just kind of evolved from that to, I moved to Iowa, ran into some friends who were filmmakers, and they kind of, showed me around, taught me a lot about filming like weddings and events. And I asked one of my friends how much he made. I was helping one of my friends second shoot for a wedding. And I asked him, I said, how much are you making? I'm just curious, how much are you making at this wedding? And he told me the price, and I'm not going to say it, but it was well above $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, are you serious? This is not hard for me because, my whole life I've been filming stuff like this, and being creative. But the more and more I looked at his stuff, I said, okay, I see why because he's really good. He was really good. If it's okay, if I could say his name is Ryan Buck from Ryan Paul Buck Productions. He was a really influential person in my starting my business. And he said, yeah, do you like doing this stuff? And I said, yeah, I love it. It's fun. It's great. And he said, okay, well, if I ever get a client that I can't film, I'll send them your way. And from that point on, it just hasn't stopped. And
Nice.
yeah, and just, till this day, every once in a while, I thank him, but I also tell him jokingly, like, this is all your fault because I'm so darn busy, and he always tells me, he always reminds me, he goes, I warned you. So that's pretty much my story, and I'm here today. So
Very nice. Very nice. So, true expert, been doing it since you were a little kid before the technology boom, and then now with technology boom, have all the access to it. Definitely a true expert. So that's it. Camera phones. What is the fastest, easiest way for us to have any like access to it so we can capture moments that's happening right in front of our eyes?
yeah, so that's a good question. The fastest way to have easy access to your phone is to keep it in your pocket. No.
Yeah.
I so phones, the technology on phones, obviously, I mean, you and I talked about this in the past, like 10 years, technology has advanced so much.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to have an iPhone or any phone from 10 years ago, 90% of the technology on here is probably wouldn't be on a phone from 10 years ago, right? Yet 10 years ago, we had phones. I can't remember what phone I had 10 years ago. Might have been a flip phone. I don't know.
Nokia.
A Nokia.
There you go.
But if it had video, we were using it, right?
Right.
Somehow, some way. So we're always adapting to our phones as the technology is adapting to, life. Hold on one second. That's my dog. Do you hear my dog? My dog is like sleeping right now, but like
Dreaming.
barking in its dreams.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, buddy, you okay? Yeah, sorry, but so yeah, back to the phone. So technology has been advancing so fast. For me, what's made phones, easy for me to access, especially the technology on it, is, obviously we have we have these folders on here. So I have a folder on here called photo and video, and all my apps are actually in here because there's tons and tons of apps that you can use for photo video editing, correct?
Right.
Even just filming.
Right.
So basically I just go straight to that, and depending on what I'm filming, I'll pick the app because certain apps have certain benefits to using.
Okay.
So like if I'm filming something outside, or if I'm filming, let's say I decide, okay, I'm going on a road trip and I want to film this documentary about my road trip. There's a certain app I'll use for that. Or I decide I'm going to use my GoPro along with my phone. There's a GoPro app for that, and it has its own editing program. So I guess it just kind of depends on what I want to film at the time. So part of filming something, for me at least, is planning, right?
Right.
There involves a little bit of planning. And I know you mentioned, like, what if we, how to easily access our phone right away. Sometimes it's not planning, but you got to also think about which app is good for that. Like, is good for the spur of the moments, or maybe it's just using your video feature on your phone right away.
Right.
So Yeah, I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So great. So you mentioned road trips, you mentioned events and things. So what are some of the best places for us to kind of capture great memory moments?
Yeah. So some of the best places for us to capture great memories and moments. Um, I really don't have like an exact answer for that. For me, it's just always pay attention to what's going on around you, right? Um, like I told you earlier when we were talking earlier today, like my whole life I've been just thinking about things like, oh, when I'm sitting at home or I'm sitting at the park and I see somebody doing something, I think, wow, I wish in my head how I'm recording this or how I can create the video out of this. And I feel like I'm a big people watcher. I like people watching when I'm in public. So I feel like um, when when I watch people, I'm sort of watching like a film in my head, and I'm automatically editing in my head. So and now that I'm in this field, I'm cursed. That's all I do. I can't watch a movie without enjoying. I can't watch a movie and enjoy it like the average person. I sit there and critique it half the time. But um, uh, for me, the best time to create these to capture these moments every time, anytime. There's always something special going on in your life. When I'm at home with my daughter, I've been a lot lately because of obviously this quarantine.
Right.
I'm watching her do things, and sometimes I'll record her, and she won't know it. Uh, Sometimes she will know it. I'm actually in the middle of editing something right now on one of my phone apps, and it's called Moments with Mia. I do it every once in a while with my daughter, and I just have tons of footage of her and I, or just her, that I'm gonna piece together in these moments with Mia. Uh, so yeah, just grab your camera or your phone and just start recording, even if it doesn't feel like it's an important moment. Just do it. Just record it. I know a lot of people say memories are better than picking out your phone and recording all the time. you know I'm on the fence with that, because I I might be a little biased, but uh I go back to these memories on my phone,
Mm-hmm.
and like I was doing today, I go back and I'm looking at these memories and I go, oh yeah, that was a cool time when I recorded my daughter doing this or that. So then I open up one of these apps that I have and I start editing and I start piecing together something really cool that 20, 30 years from now is going to be fun to watch.
Right.
When she graduates from high school or whatever, I'm going to play it. I'm going to show it to her and her friends. So
Make her cry.
yeah, or make her hate me for
Yes.
recording that. So yeah.
Great, great. Now, I know we mentioned about um, making great memories. We just kind of create and capture every moment, which is a great advice. Now, with kids or even pets, moving around so much, how do you make sure you can actually capture the right moment? I mean, they're moving a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So kids and pets are moving around a lot. They're fast. So my biggest advice is to join a gym and work out and get in shape.
Yeah, there you go.
No, no. That holds true in some way. I'll be honest with you. But um, I'm a firm believer in composition. I mentioned earlier how Ryan Buck, was one of my friends who inspired me in wedding videography and just videography in general. But he was a big um, believer in composition over, I guess, special effects and technology, I guess. He was more in just creating telling a story
Mm-hmm.
in composition. And to me, I have gimbals and equipment that, you know, you can hold professional phones or cameras and just sit there and just, you know, you're holding, you know, I could put my camera on here and I could do this and I'll hold it steady. And there's internal stabilization in cameras and or gimbals. You could run around and do that all you want, but like for me, that's great. But if you don't have a story to tell, if you're not telling a story, and if you're not composing the shot correctly, then yeah, I guess you're lacking
Mm-hmm.
the probably, you know, 75% of what your film needs, right? So an easy way, like I tell some of the people that work for me or train under me, some of the best, I teach them fundamentals over technical
Right.
aspects, really.
Right.
Because I feel like if you get way too involved in all the technical aspects in your camera or in your software, you lose the creativity part. Does that make sense?
Yes. I agree.
So with all these gimbals and everything nowadays, people are running around and they're holding these gimbals and like, oh yeah, I have to do this because this is going to make an amazing film. Technically, or in reality, it might be a cool shot, but you're focusing on the wrong things. I think you need to focus more on composition and storytelling.
Okay.
And when I say composition, I'll even tell some of my shooters, look, take the camera, just hold it or find some way to hold it still, put it on something, compose the shot so that your subject is in the frame, whether it's a wide shot and the subject is smaller and they're running across the frame, or it's a close-up shot and the subject is bigger, and they're, you know, you have it, you have the subject centered in the middle of the frame and they're talking straight at the camera. You know, each shot has a purpose,
Right.
right?
Right.
And you don't even have to move the camera at
Right.
that point, as long as you have the subject in frame correctly, and they are, you know, telling the story that you want them to tell, and each shot has its purpose.
Right.
The your target audience is not even going to think about that camera moving because they're so involved in the story, if that makes sense.
Got it.
There is a time and place for moving shots, don't get me wrong, but some people mistaken that and they think they need a moving shot all the time.
Okay.
And I guess that's my best advice.
That's great advice. I think that opens up my eyes too. It's like get the composition, get the story first versus trying to move the camera 10 different angles.
Right.
That's
Right. And I learned that, you know, in the years, that I learned that from experience. 'Cause I went backwards, right? I kind of, you know, grew up with hating the tripod. I hated the tripod. I hated putting the camera on the tripod, adjusting the tripod, and I was like, oh, there's no room. All these, you know, everything was like, you know, as soon as I got the tripod adjusted, the camera was sideways. I just hated it, you know? So I wanted to hold a gimbal or just hold the camera, and, you know, that's fine too. But the more and more I started working in this industry and realizing how composition works and storytelling works, the more and more I respected that tripod. And it's the weirdest thing. I never thought I would ever say I respect the tripod, but uh, you know, if you use it to your advantage, it works well. It works well. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I could easily just go and grab a gimbal and just go do that, but it's just not the same shot. It doesn't tell the story right. So what I ended up doing was I took a step back and I restarted, and I said, okay, I'm going to go back to the tripod or monopod. I'm just going to hold it in frame and compose my shot. and let the subject do the moving around in the frame. And man, let me tell you, it changed everything about how I film. And it also made me a better filmmaker because I anticipated what was going to happen next, especially in in the wedding film industry, where you're filming mostly documentary style. So the people, it's not, most of the times it's not staged, right? You're filming what's really happening at the time. So if I compose a shot or a shot and the bride is on the left side of the screen and she's getting her makeup on, and then she moves over to the right side of the screen, then I know, I'm anticipating that she's gonna do that again later, or she's gonna move this way or that way. So I know how to compose my next shot, or if I move the camera over to another angle, I know which direction she's moving. She's going this way, she's not going this way. So it made me a better filmmaker in that sense of being able to anticipate what's going to happen next. It saved my butt a lot because of that, because when you anticipate what's going to happen, they don't fall out of the frame. You know what I mean? And so, it just makes life easier for you, Okay. Yeah. So sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
No, it's great. Just make sure. Okay, got it. Now, time of the day, is there a great time? Like right now is bright and sunny out. Is it a good time to make videos, or would you prefer different type of lighting, different maybe not as bright, or what do you normally do?
Yeah, that's a good question. I used to again, back before back in the days when I hated the tripod, right? I used to, time of day was important, or location because of the time of day. So right now it's super bright and sunny, and obviously you can see from my webcam, I'm overexposed right here on this side of my face. And the only way to fix that on my webcam, because I don't, really use webcams that much, is to block this somehow or to filter it out more. And I thought it was filtered because I have a shade there, but I guess not. The best way to fix that back in the days, even nowadays, people still do it, is they go find a shaded area. They go under a tree or something. Well, here in Iowa, when you're filming like weddings or anything, to go find a shaded area means you're going to be under a tree. Right. 99% of the times you're going to be under a tree. So every time we were out in the bright sun like this with a photographer or something, it was the same thing. We'd go find a shaded area. And it just got to the point where all our shots were in under a tree. Right?
It got boring, huh?
Yeah, it got boring. And then after a while, I was just like, okay, well, why am I under a tree all the time? So I got sick and tired of being under a tree. I was like, this isn't creative to me. So I had to make a decision, and I finally said, forget it. I'll go under a tree. That's great. But I'm going to go out in the sun. I don't care. Why can't we go out in the sun? Why not? One of my shooters that's worked with me for so long, his name is Steve Thurman. He kind of sparked that in me too. Cause he was like, why don't we just go out in the sun and shoot this?
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I go, you know what? You're right. So again, just like the tripod story, I hated shooting out in the sun because it was so bright and overexposed. But with technology nowadays, with the advanced cameras nowadays, you can go out in the sun and you can create your own style. I mean, I know it looks a little different than the shaded areas or under a tree, but you can go out there and create your own style out in the sun. And I ever since then, I've just been enjoying the fact that I'm not afraid to go shoot out in the bright sun. Don't get me wrong. There are times where shadows get in the way, or I don't know, you're just, it's just so hot and bright out there that your subject's sweating or something, you know what I mean? So you got to think about those factors, but don't be afraid to shoot out here. Just pay attention to your exposure, again, composition, storytelling. It helped me tell a different story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're out in the sun, obviously you're going to get a little overexposure there. So maybe use filters or some sort of, or just adjust your camera so it's not overexposed in these elements. That's my advice. Is to just let's stop acting like vampires, you know, and
Yeah.
go out and film in the sun. So.
Yep. Just go out, film, make memories, post them, come
Yeah,
back.
and I'm not a big fan. I don't think I have like one style,
Uh-huh.
like where you watch all my videos and it's just that same unique style. Like I have friends that have like all their videos are just moody and
Right.
dark,
Right.
right? And that's great and they're beautiful. I love those videos. But you'll never ever see them out in the sun because
Right.
everything is dark and moody. It has to be moody. If they're out in the sun, they're by a window that has like very little sun coming through and they show their face, they peek their face in the light and it's just this cool moody shot and I love it. But life is too short for me. I want to try everything. I want to do those moody style shots, but I also want to go out in the bright sun and see what I can do with that. So that's my advice for everyone is to not be afraid. I know you're going to go out there if you're used to, controlled lighting and whatnot. You're going to go out there and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's so bright out here. How am I supposed to shoot this? Well, guess what? That's what we're for. That's why we're creative, right?
Yep.
And, don't let the camera control you. You control the camera. So.
Wise, very wise. And now you mentioned you do different styles and whatnot. What is the best way to look at your things, your production, your videos? Do you have like a website? How to reach you?
Oh yeah, so I have a website. I have Facebook, Instagram. You can find, believe it or not, you can find me on TikTok. I apologize in advance for my dance moves or anything in there. So it's under The Vine Productions. My website is www.thevinepro.com. If you did a search, I'm sure you can find me anywhere on Instagram or Facebook with that. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, there you go, Mr. TikTok superstar, wedding photographer, videographer from The Vine Productions, sharing with us great tips. And don't be afraid. Just go do it. Just go film it. Make great memories. Post them online. When Facebook or Instagram or any social media channels come back a year later and say, hey, you posted this a year ago. Guess what? You got great positive memories, right?
Exactly. And also, one last advice: get yourself a really nice coffee mug like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm kidding. I've been showing that coffee mug a lot lately, so I just had to do it this one last time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hey,
We'll
thanks
be
for having me, Jen. Thanks for
yes.
having me, Jenn Ho. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure. This interview with you was a pleasure. Prior to this, I've seen a lot of your work online. I love your work. I was honored when you asked if you could interview me. I was super excited and super nervous at the same time. I just wish you the best of luck, and I hope you stay safe. I know it's crazy times right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of your work out there. And this guy is an amazing real estate agent. Check him out. He will help you find a home if you're looking for a home. Now's a good time to look for a home, by the way, and Jenn Ho could help you with that.
Perfect. Thank you for the great shout out.
Yeah.
Catch you guys later.
Peace out.